Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm hopping on board because there's something that I just posted in the group, Healthy Mourning, Happy Loving, that is really important. It's an interview with Brene Brown, who talks about vulnerability. So vulnerability is such an important piece of grief and grieving, and we need to honor this. And we kind of need to breathe it in and digest what Brene is saying and how this applies to grief. So what she talks about is vulnerability. And she defines vulnerability as uncertainty, as being at risk or believing that you are at risk, and feeling emotionally exposed. Well, hello. If that's not grief, I'm really not sure what is, right? We all have this experience of feeling completely uncertain. You know, our assumptive world has been blown up with this person or animal who has died in our life. We feel the uncertainty of what the future is going to hold. We really don't know, and we're caught in that. And we're going to be in that uncertainty for we don't know how long, which just adds to the uncertainty, right? And it feels so precarious. It feels so on the edge and not knowing what we're on the edge of. So of course, that edge is feeling at risk. Our whole life is at risk because what we knew our life to be is no longer. With this person who died, we don't know what our new norm is and is going to become. We're in the process of finding that. That's part of the grief journey is the seeking of what the new norm is, but we're nowhere near that right now. And we're really not sure how to deal with that. And we're feeling emotionally exposed because let's face it, we're really, really raw right now. And that rawness is seemingly not helping the situation. And yet the truth of it is the more we can be courageous, and Brene Brown talks about vulnerability as a courage. It takes courage to be vulnerable. There is no courage without vulnerability. And that's part of what she says in the interview. And so what we need to recognize is that we have to have the courage to grieve, to be in our vulnerability as we grieve, because anything less than that is buried and carried grief. And there are so many ills of burying and carrying your grief, and society is going to encourage you to do it. Your job's going to encourage you to do it. Your friends are going to encourage you to do it by saying things like, you know, we just wish you'd be the person that you were. Could you just go back to who you were? The funeral's over now. Well, we're never going to be the person that we were. That's never going to happen. What we need to do is to be willing to be present to our grief, to breathe into that grief. And as painful as that is, the alternative is so much more painful and costs so much more in terms of physical pain, in terms of emotional pain that gets buried and carried, and eventually our life spark just disappears. So we don't want that. What we want to do is we want to walk through our grief with ease and grace and convert that grief to mourning in healthy ways. And so that is going to require vulnerability. So thank you to Brene for bringing this forward. Thank you to Ryan Seacrest for doing the interview and posting it. And to all of you who are on this journey, you know, if you need to talk to me, please PM me. That's private message me. I always feel really funny saying PM me. So private message me if you want to talk. If you have questions, please post them here in the comment section on this video. And if you have topics you want me to talk about in Facebook Lives, as always, send me a message or put it in the comment section, because I am happy to discover the topics that we need to be talking about together. It's in this conversation that we begin to do the hard work and the very courageous work of being in our vulnerability and finding a way of ease and grace in that vulnerability. I wish you lots of love. I'll be back on Facebook Live tomorrow. Much love to you all. Namaste.